The wife was clearly incredibly rich to test whether her husband had any intentions. So she pretended to be poor and stayed by his side for 5 years. He thought she was just a girl selling hot dogs in front of the school gate, also suffering a lot because of her home loan when she had to grit her teeth to buy a box of birth plans. He thought she was the gentlest person in the world. But one day, he discovered that at her White Moon Lights party, she had transferred more than 40 billion to her White Moon Light at once. At this point, he realized that she was only pretending to be poor and miserable to trick him in order to earn money to treat her leg. I worked as a waiter at a pub. When I was tired of standing, I suddenly saw a familiar figure. I was dumbfounded when I saw that familiar figure. The woman was wearing a high-class party dress and was surrounded by people. Her face was delicate and beautiful, with an outstanding temperament. I thought I was hallucinating, opened my eyes wide to look closely. It was not a hallucination, it was my wife, Jiang Mong. Why is she here? A while ago I heard others say that the people attending today's party were all famous figures in the business world with noble statuses. But Jiang Mong is so poor, how can he be a noble person? The next second, I saw her lift her legs and walk towards the sofa. My whole body was stunned, her leg was not crippled at all. Thinking about last night while lying in bed, I gently hugged her and said, "Wife, I have to earn a lot of money, then take you to a big hospital to treat your leg." She gently kissed my face. "No, I don't want you to be tired," paused for a moment, then revealed an expression of both guilt and pity. "Sorry husband, if my legs weren't crippled, you wouldn't have to work so hard to earn money to support the family." Thinking of this, my throat felt like it was being squeezed by a large hand, making it difficult to breathe. I wore a mask and work clothes at the party. There were many people, so Jiang Mong didn't pay attention to me. To find out the truth, I moved behind the sofa and eavesdropped on their conversation. A person wearing glasses asked Jiang Mong, "I thought you wouldn't come tonight." Jiang Mong lazily said, "Staying in that shabby place of dozens of square meters all day is boring." The girl wearing glasses laughed a few times. "I see you've been playing for so long and still don't want to come back. Haven't you fallen in love with that Lam Tak Viet guy?" Jiang Mong sneered, "Lick him? Who are you insulting? He's like a small animal on the side of the road. If he's bored, he'll play around a bit. He won't be able to play the main role." I asked someone to act, lying that my leg was crippled. He believed it. He also worked day and night, trying to save money to treat my leg. Do you find it funny? Having finished speaking, they all laughed. In that moment, my heart felt like it had 1,000 cuts. I couldn't believe that the woman who was by my side day and night could say such words. I thought she loved me, but it turned out she didn't even like me. She just sees me as a toy that she plays with in the palm of her hand. She lied to me. The girl wearing glasses smiled and said, "That's right, if it weren't for Chu then loving another woman, she wouldn't have found that guy Lam Tak Viet to provoke him. I heard that Chu then found out that you were married and immediately got mad. He and his girlfriend broke up, so he will probably come to you soon to ask for peace." Jiang Mong snorted, "If he comes back to me, I will immediately divorce and be with him." The woman wearing glasses asked, "So how do you plan to get rid of Lam Tak Viet?" Jiang Mong narrowed her eyes, "We can't let him know my true identity. Otherwise, I'm afraid he won't give up on me. And his mother, her money-hungry face is so annoying. If she knew I was rich, I don't know if she would come to me every day to ask for money. Thinking about it is so unlucky, my heart stopped beating. It turns out she is the only daughter of the richest man in Haitan. She is not a poor girl abandoned by her biological parents. As for my mother, she was extremely opposed when she learned that I was about to marry Jiang Mong. Then she changed her mind, she agreed to let Zhang Mong and I get married if she gave her 20 million. But Zhang Mong said she had no money. I know my mother's character, and she won't give up until she gets the money. So, I gritted my teeth, withdrew my previous savings and gathered 20 million to give to my mother. The girl wearing glasses smiled mischievously. So in that aspect, who do you think is better? Lam Tak Viet or Chu Then? Zhang Mong said contemptuously, is he worthy of being compared to Chu Then? My face immediately became extremely pale. Every word Zhang Mong said seemed to be tearing at my heart. Assuming she had any respect for me, she wouldn't have used me as a subject to humiliate in front of others like this. I wanted to throw a glass of wine at her and ask why she did that to me. But I can't do it. If she wanted to tease me, I simply couldn't resist. Right now, I just want to escape from here. Maybe because I was so confused and scared that I accidentally bumped into someone. I heard the sound of a wine glass falling to the floor. I was just about to say sorry when I received a painful slap. A man's evil curses rang out, "You eyeless thing, dare to touch us." I was dizzy from this slap. Waiting a few seconds, I bowed my head and apologized. When I saw Zhang Mong coming from the corner of my eye, my heart sank. I'm afraid she'll realize it's me. She walked straight to the man who hit me and gently asked, "Chu Then, are you hurt?" My body stiffened. He was Chu Then, her Bok Noyet Kwong. With a delicate face, dressed in high-class Western clothes, one could tell at a glance that he was a rich man. I immediately lowered my head because I often worked overtime and stayed up late, so my face became very haggard. To save money, I haven't had a full meal in a long time. Zhang Mong glanced at me in annoyance. "Get out of here." I pinched my palm tightly to keep from crying, and struggled to lift my feet and leave. I walked slowly, hearing Chu Then behind me talking to Zhang. Dream. Recently he has lost more than 3 million on the stock market. His parents, if they knew, would definitely scold him. Can you help me? Zhang Mong immediately took out her cell phone and said, "I'll give you 4 garlic. If it's not enough, tell me again." I stopped and mechanically turned my head to look at Chu Then. Happily hugged Zhang Mong, kissed her cheeks a few times. "Thank you, Chu Mong. I know you are the best person for me." I hugged my heart that was about to break in pain. I remember that, when I first got married, I had appendicitis and needed surgery, but I didn't have enough money. Zhang Mong helplessly hugged me and cried, "Husband, I'm so useless, you don't have any money for surgery, what should I do?" Seeing her cry, I remembered the day she saved me. I quickly comforted her, saying, "It's okay, let me find a way." After that, I borrowed money from a friend so that the surgery could go smoothly. She even refused to give me money for the surgery, but now, she calmly passed 4 garlic to her Bok Noyet Kwong without the slightest hesitation. This stark contrast makes my heart ache. I heavily dragged my body out of the party, walking on the street like a zombie. Suddenly, I tripped over something and fell to the ground, looking at my bleeding knees and palms. It was like the final catalyst that made my tears unable to hold back anymore. I remember fragments of the past. Zhang Mong used to be my neighbor. She was evicted by her landlord because she had no money to pay the rent and had to sleep in the stairs. As I passed by, she grabbed my pant leg, said she had a fever, and asked if I could let her in for the night. I pulled my pants back on and kept walking. Suddenly, I stopped for some reason and turned to look at her. The weather was very cold, her body was shaking. That scene made me think of myself, how lonely and helpless I used to be. Finally, I brought her into the house. Initially, I wanted to let her go after the fever subsided, but during the few days of recovery, she cooked for me, prepared bath water, and greeted me every day. One night, while she was waiting for me to get off work at the intersection, she met a drunk man. He intended to bully her. I immediately stepped forward to stop him, but the drunk man picked up a stick and tried to hit me. At the critical moment, it was John Mong who stood in front of me and blocked that blow for me. Since then, she has become disabled. I grew up in a single-parent family. My mother always beat and scolded me. She forced me to earn more money for her to spend. I have lacked love since I was young. No one has ever stood up to protect me. After that, we were together. Not long after, I proposed to her. I really want a place to call home. John Mong's leg was crippled, and she couldn't go out to work, so the entire family's financial burden fell on me. I worked hard to earn money. In addition to taking care of the small home, I also want to take her to a big hospital for foot treatment, hoping her feet can walk normally. But it turned out that all that effort was just a joke that she made up to entertain, to attract Chuthan's attention. It's bitter. When I got home, I looked at the daily necessities on the table. Those are discounted items that I scrambled to buy yesterday. After returning, I happily showed off to John Mong how cheap these items were. It helped us save a lot of money. She kept complimenting me on how amazing I was. Now that I think about it, she was probably laughing at me like I was an idiot. I take a shower. The running water and the wounds on my knees and palms caused me terrible pain, but I ignored it, wanting myself to remember the pain. I packed John Mong's belongings and put them in a cardboard box to leave in front of the door. As soon as I stood up, my cell phone rang. I took it out and saw the word wife. Now, seeing this way of addressing, it is full of bitterness. After the call was connected, I heard John Mong ask, "Husband, when are you coming back?" I'm not too smart, but I'm not so smart that I don't understand her purpose in calling me. She wanted to check if I was coming home tonight. If I don't come back, she can stay with Zhou. My mind was very confused. I didn't want to look at her face for the time being, so I closed my eyes and said, "I have to work overtime tonight, so I can't go home." During the day, I work at a company, and at night I work as a security guard. When I have free time, I run out to get food tonight. I came to work as a waiter at a party because an acquaintance asked me to. Anyway, it was a part-time job and I could make money, so I went. John Mong on the other end of the phone seemed to breathe a sigh of relief. "So husband, remember to drink more water. If you're tired, just rest moderately." Hearing her fake concern, I couldn't help but immediately turned off the phone. If she really cares about me, how can she let me do 3 things a day and be tired like a dog? I sat on the small, cramped sofa and didn't sleep all night. It was morning. I heard the sound of the key, so I immediately got up and walked to the door to open it. I saw John Mong standing outside. There was a trace of surprise in her eyes when she saw me, because I usually go straight to the company after the night shift and will not appear at home during this time. But after all, she was an actress, so she limped in front of me. "Call your husband." John Mong is wearing a t-shirt, shorts and sneakers that I bought for her. The price of each item is not more than 100 branches. At the party, I still didn't understand why she pretended to be crippled. But now I know that she wanted to impress me this way. And she can also use this as an excuse not to go to work, killing 2 birds with 1 stone. At that time, I was really touched. I thought I was lucky to meet such a good woman and vowed to be good to her all my life. How ironic. John Mong smiled and asked, "Husband, why are you standing at the door?" "Are you?" "Wait for you. Why do I quietly look at her?" If I hadn't been there last night and known the truth, I probably would have rushed to hug her, ask her and care for her right now. I work day and night for her, even when my stomach bleeds. I only dare to eat a bowl of instant noodles at the company. When my colleagues asked, I had to pretend to be comfortable and say that I wanted to lose weight. Wait until one day, she gets tired of joking with me and will kick me out. How can she treat me so calmly? Thinking about this, my tears fell again. I pointed to the cardboard box at my feet and said I had packed your things, they were all in here. Jiang Mong saw me crying, she suddenly panicked and reached out to hug me. But the scene of her embracing Chu then with her gentle, sweet eyes made me terrified. In fact, she usually treats me like that, but the difference is that she's fake with me, but sincere with Zhou Chen. I reflexively avoid, don't touch me. Jiang Mong looked at me confused, husband, why are you crying? Didn't you see me at home so you were angry? Her eyes were red, as if extremely worried. I'm sorry, it's my fault. I just went out to find a job that could make money, because I felt extremely frustrated, making you work too hard every day. I didn't mean to make you worry. Look, don't be angry. I promise I won't do it again next time. Don't fire me, okay? Seeing her pitiful expression, I gently wiped the tears from her face. Do you really feel sorry for me? Do you really consider me your husband? Jiang Mong reluctantly said, Husband, what are you talking about? Of course I care about you. Yes, I'm such a stupid loser. Looking at her expression, I kept thinking about last night's events, how she said I wasn't worthy of being compared to Zhou Chen with a look of disdain and disgust, as if I were a piece of trash. I suppressed the pain in my heart and gave her the divorce papers. This is the divorce agreement, please sign here. Jiang Mong was stunned for a moment. She looked at the divorce petition in my hand, her expression still innocent. Husband, what do you mean? I looked at her with red eyes and said sarcastically, Miss Jiang, you have a noble position and a full education. Don't you understand the meaning of the word divorce? Jiang Mong still tried to pretend, Husband, what are you saying? I don't understand anything. Don't you understand what you don't understand? Why are you still trying to pretend until now? Do you think I'm an idiot so easy to bully? Anger flared up in my heart. I pointed to the finger marks on my face. I was the waiter at the front desk last night. Then, I took the glass of water out of her cardboard box and threw it towards her right leg. I shouted, as if I wanted to tear my lungs out in her face, your leg is not crippled. You're lying. How long are you going to lie to me, Jiang Mong? You don't have to worry, you can't get rid of me anymore. Because right now the person who wants to get rid of you is me. The glass of water fell to the ground, breaking into pieces. Jiang Mong was stunned and silent for a few seconds. After that, she immediately turned around and showed a superior attitude. Good, I didn't expect you to know my identity so quickly. It's better so I don't have to make any more excuses. She took out a bank card and gave it to me. In this card is 20 million. I immediately replied, no, the divorce agreement was written very clearly. After getting married, I also clearly recorded all expenses. You can transfer half of that money back to me, and for the rest, I will not ask you to pay any additional X. Because of poverty, I often have the habit of keeping accounting books. Jiang Mong looked at me in disbelief. Don't you want this card? What does she think? Someone who loves money like me doesn't want this 20 million. But she didn't know how hard I worked just to get her to get treatment for her leg injury. A man's voice suddenly rang out from behind. I looked over and saw it was Chu then. He walked over, wrapped his arms around Jiang Mong's waist and looked at me with disdain. I warn you, get a divorce as soon as possible and stop bothering her. She is mine, not something someone like you can dream of. I looked at him coldly, the divorce is between me and Jiang Mong, it's not your turn to warn me. Chu then was angry and raised his hand to slap me again. This time, I grabbed his wrist. Enough! John Mong glared at me and shouted, "Do you dare to touch Mr. I?" Chu then pushed my hand away. The smile on his lips was full of provocation. My eyes were red, my heart numb with pain. I bit my lip. "Do you love him that much? Won't you quickly go and complete the divorce proceedings with me?" John Mong looked at me. Half an hour later, we arrived at the place to cancel the engagement. There weren't many people at this time, so it was soon our turn. I remember the day I went to receive the marriage certificate very quickly. The only difference is that at that time I was very happy, but now I am extremely depressed. I signed it emphatically. But when it was John Mong's turn, she didn't move. She turned her head to look at me and asked, "Lam Tak Viet, are you sure you won't regret divorcing me?" I pursed my lips and smiled coldly. "Regret? John Mong, marrying you is what I regret the most." John Mong's small face suddenly darkened. After that, she immediately took the pen to sign. After getting the divorce papers, I left immediately without looking back. When she got home and saw the things at the door, she didn't take them away. I'm not very surprised, because to her these things are probably just trash. So I put it all in the bin, just like I threw away John Mong. After that, I slept for a long time. When I woke up, I saw that it was already dark. I didn't want to cook, so I invited Lai Chuang out to dinner. I told Lai not yet the story of John Mong pretending to be poor and miserable to trick me. He was very angry. John Mong is such a cruel person. Even so, he doesn't even give you anything. Why did you work so hard? And she gave me 20 million, but I don't want you to be stupid. Why don't you marry me? Taking a sip of beer, before she even refused to give me a few million for surgery. Now she gives me 20 million. Who knows if she's creating some kind of trap to trick me? Lai Chiu felt that what I said made sense. That's true, but thinking back, I still feel angry. Don't let me see her again, otherwise I will scold her to death. Because I was in a bad mood, I drank a lot. In the end, Lai Chiu had to take me home. The next day, I packed my things and went to work. Women like John Mong are not worth my concern. Without her in my heart, my life would be much more peaceful and comfortable. I quit my job as a part-time security guard and spent all my free time improving myself, my knowledge and preparing to retake the certification exam. As for John Mong, I don't pay attention to any news about her. But one day, I saw John Mong and Chu Then on the street. They were shopping hand in hand as a couple. Looking at this scene, there were no more waves in my heart. Maybe it's because I don't love John Mong anymore. I received a call from Lai Chiu while studying in the evening. "Tak Viet, come to our hotel quickly." I asked, "What's going on?" "Don't ask anymore, come here quickly. There's a good show to see." When I ran over, I saw many people gathering in front of the hotel. Some people were using cameras to take pictures, as if they were reporters. I didn't see Lai Chiu, but I saw the face of a girl shyly covering herself to get in the car and leave. Lai Chiu stepped in front of me, laughed heartily and said, "You're late, it was so interesting." It turns out that tonight, Chu then went to the hotel to book a room with a female model. John Mong found out and came to arrest him, beat that female model to save me some anger. Lai Chiu has found someone to notify reporters and is going online. Now everyone knows John Mong was cheated. I agree with Lai Chiu, he is really a good brother. John Mong deceived me, now she is deceived by Chu Then. This is called retribution, karma does not spare anyone. The next night, when I came home from work, I unexpectedly saw John Mong at the door. She was holding a bag of my favorite peanuts and smilingly said, "Lin Tak Viet, this is your favorite peanut, please eat it. I calmly said, I don't like it anymore now. Jiang Mong's hands stiffened in midair. After a while, she said again, let's get back together. I will give you a beautiful life. When you go out, there will be a maid and a driver. You won't need to go to work anymore. I will give you everything you want. Tomorrow, can you leave this rented house behind and move in with me? I looked at Jiang Mong when she said these words. It wasn't even a question or a request. It's like a gift you're giving me. What kind of person do you think I am? When you call, you have to come, but when you block, you send her away. I'm a human, not a dog. Jiang Mong, please get out of here. Hearing me say that, Jiang Mong's expression suddenly changed. Lin Tak Viet, I have humbled myself to make peace with you, what else do you want me to do? I smiled angrily at her. If she feels that a noble lady like you has condescended to ask me to come back, then I must feel happy and flatter you, then you are wrong. At least you should show me sincerity instead of the show of favor. Jiang Mong, please listen carefully. I don't love you anymore. No matter what you do, I will never go back to you. Jiang Mong threw the bag of peanuts in her hand and grabbed my arm with a scary expression. What did you say? I looked into her eyes and said, word for word, I don't love you anymore. Jiang Mong seemed to be stimulated by something. Dong Tu shrinks slightly. I took advantage of her loss of consciousness to pry her fingers away, quickly opened the door and entered the house. But Jiang Mong did not give up. She even came to my mother to convince me, you must remarry Jiang Mong immediately. She is the only daughter of the richest man in Haitan. Once you are with her, we will have loads of money to spend. From childhood until now, she has never given me anything called motherly love. If I did poorly in school, she would scold me and beat me. I won't remarry her if you force me. Don't blame me, I will disown you. Having finished speaking, I hung up the phone. Because I was worried that Jiang Mong would bother me again, I discussed with Lai Chiu about finding someone to pretend to be my girlfriend. He immediately recommended hairdresser Lu Nuyen to me and said she would be happy to help. I've met Lu Nuyen a few times, but I'm not very close with her. Hesitating for a while, I finally decided to call her and briefly explain the situation between Jiang Mong and me. Lu Nuyen happily agreed and came to see me after work. We returned together, and sure enough, we saw Jiang Mong standing in front of my house. This time, she didn't carry anything in her hand. She stared at me and pointed at Lu Nuyen. Who is this woman? I held Lu Nuyen's hand and said, this is my girlfriend. Jiang Mong angrily said, no, you are mine. Before I could say anything, Lu Nuyen said, Lam Tak Viet is divorced. What right do you have to object to us? Jiang Mong narrowed her eyes. Don't think I don't know you deliberately found someone to annoy me. Before she could finish speaking, I turned around and kissed Lu Nuyen without actually touching her face. Jiang Mong, you and I are divorced. Whether I have a girlfriend or getting married again is my freedom. It has nothing to do with you. Jiang Mong's expression was a bit uncontrollable. She glanced at the clothes Lu Nuyen was wearing. Do you have to be with a poor woman like this? I glared at her angrily. You are not allowed to insult my girlfriend. Jiang Mong's small face looked at me as if she wanted to pierce this body. After that, she left. I looked at Lu Nuyen apologetically. I'm sorry, I offended you just now. Don't take what she said to heart. I'll treat you to dinner another day. Thank you, Lu Nu. Yen smiled and said, okay. I thought that after what happened last night, Jiang Mong wouldn't come to bother me anymore. Unexpectedly, the next morning, as soon as I left the house to go to work, someone covered my mouth from behind. My vision darkened and I fainted. When I woke up, I found myself lying in a strange bed. I sat up immediately. Jiang Mong walked to the bed, smiled and said, "Is Lam Tak Viet on awake?" I looked at her warily. "Where is this?" "This is our house, Lam Tak Viet on. There's no need to rent a house anymore. You just need to tell the servant what you want to eat every day." She actually hired someone to kidnap me and take me to her house. I was so angry that I was shaking. "Jiang Mong, I've made it clear. I will never go back to you. What you are doing is illegal. Lam Tak Viet, I'm still angry because you lied to me last time. How can I admit my mistake? Can I apologize to you? I just want you to let me go." Jiang Mong stared at me. "I am your husband. We will be together forever." I loudly objected. "We are divorced, Jiang Mong. You have no right to treat me like that." Jiang Mong held my hand tightly. "We can get married again, Tak Viet. Don't leave me. I really know I was wrong." I looked at her. The soles of my feet suddenly felt cold, but after thinking about it, I suddenly realized that I couldn't show too much cowardice. Otherwise, she will be overwhelmed even more. So, I pretended to be calm and scolded her. "Jiang Mong, are you sick? I told you, I don't love you anymore. Don't bother bothering me anymore." Jiang Mong did not listen to what I said at all. "I don't believe it. I know you still love me very much." I took a deep breath. "Jiang Mong, if Chuthan hadn't betrayed you, maybe you two would be married now. Basically, you don't have me in your heart. Just consider me begging you to forgive me." Jiang Mong shook her head. "It's not like that. I admit that the purpose of approaching you at first was impure, but later I really fell in love with you. Chuthan and I no longer have any relationship. You don't need to worry about him anymore." She took a bank card from the drawer next to it and stuffed it into my hand. "I really love you. I will give all my money to you." I withdrew my hand and tossed the card to the ground. "I don't need it." Jiang Mong's face suddenly became unsightly. She raised her sandy hand in my face and shouted loudly, "Lam Tak Viet, what are you pretending to do? Don't you like money the most?" The next second, she became very flustered again and came next to me. "I'm sorry. Does it hurt? I didn't mean it." She even grabbed my hand and put it on her face. "Spank me, spank me." I thought she was really crazy. My body instinctively cringed. "Jiang Mong, what do you want? You want me to love you? Don't dream anymore. Jiang Mong, we're finished." Jiang Mong held my face, preparing to kiss me. I want to hide, but I can't. I could only grit my teeth and say, "Jiang Mong, do you still have integrity?" Jiang Mong's movements stopped for a moment. After a while, he said, "Lam Tak Viet, I'll give you time to think. We will definitely go back to the way we were before." I closed my eyes. "You go out first. I want to be quiet." It wasn't until she walked out that my nerves relaxed. I calmed down and thought of a way to escape. To make Jiang Mong relax her guard, I pretended to obey, eating and sleeping as usual. It wasn't until the night of the fourth day that Jiang Mong opened the door and walked in. Only found the room empty. "Where's Lam Tak Viet on?" I stood behind the door and pushed her hard. Jiang Mong fell to the ground. I ran out as quickly as I could, running out of the villa in one breath. I didn't know the way, so I could only run forward with all my strength, trying to stay as far away from Jiang Mong as possible. Suddenly, I bumped into someone. When I raised my head, I clearly saw the person in front of me and exclaimed in surprise, "Lai Chiu, is it you?" Since I disappeared, Lai Chiu and Lu Nuyan have been looking for me everywhere. They suspected that Zhang Mong had kidnapped me, so they kept watch near her villa. Just as Lai Chiu and I were about to leave, we heard fast footsteps behind us. Zhang Mong chased after with some bodyguards. Her eyes were glued to me. "Lin Tak Viet, how dare you lie to me? You never wanted to come back to me?" I looked at her indifferently. "Zhang Mong, are you the only one allowed to deceive me? Why can't I deceive you?" Zhang Mong gritted her teeth. "I've tried to make it up to you. Taking over you so you can have the best life, isn't that enough?" She's so funny. "Do you think money is everything? I never wanted things to turn out like this, but you were the one who made it happen. Zhang Mong, do you know why I refuse to forgive you? Because I'm just a normal person, wanting to live a peaceful, stable life. I used to consider her everything, wanting to give her the best, but she trampled on my wishes, trampled on my efforts. I've been having nightmares these past few days. Do you know what I dreamed about? All are her pictures. She is my biggest nightmare." Zhang Mong was shocked and took 2 steps back. Lai Chiu and I left. Zhang Mong couldn't catch up, she still stood there watching. After that, Lai Chiu and Lu Nuyen often came to my house to visit me. Lu Nuyen cares about me like a friend. I also think her personality is actually quite good, carefree and lovely. One night, we were walking together. Lu Nuyen suddenly said to me, "Lin Tak Viet, I have liked you for a long time. Can you give me a chance to be your girlfriend?" I was very surprised. "I'm sorry, Lu Nuyen, I don't want to have a relationship with anyone for now. Thank you for liking me." Lu Nuyen looked at me. "It's okay, I know Zhang Mong has caused a lot of trouble for you. I will wait, I will also prove to you that I really like you, it's not just a temporary feeling." To be honest, I was a little touched by Lu Nuyen's sincere confession. But after going through a relationship with Zhang Mong, it's not easy for me to open up anymore. It didn't take long for me to move to another city. Zhang Mong never came to see me again. Peace has returned to my life. 3 years later, I used my savings to open a small bakery, because when I was young I always didn't have enough to eat. When I saw other children eating bread, I was very jealous, so I really wanted to have a bakery for myself. Unexpectedly, my first customer was Lu Nuyen. I asked in surprise, "Why are you here?" Lu Nuyen smiled, "Isn't the boss recruiting employees?" "I'm here for an interview." I smiled. Lu Nuyen stayed at my store to help. Gradually, we came together very naturally. I realized that she liked me from the first time she met me, but she never dared to express her feelings. When Lai Chiu came to find her, she was very happy because she finally had the chance to meet me. The bakery was doing very well, and it didn't take long for it to start making a profit. I don't have any pressure and live a comfortable, happy life every day. My relationship with Lu Nuyen is also very stable. Her love for me is not strong, but strangely strong. Afterwards, Lai Chiu came to see me and talked about Zhang Mong. During the conversation, I learned that she had been in a car accident 2 years ago and almost died. The legs were seriously injured and were amputated. She has truly become disabled. Her family's business also began to inexplicably fail and was no longer prosperous. I didn't have many emotions after hearing Zhang Mong's news, as if I had never known her. Maybe because I gave up on her a long time ago. Whatever happens to her has nothing to do with me. After Lai Chiu left, I sat alone on the chair for a long time. Lu Nuyen walked over and held my hand. "What are you thinking?" I took out a ring from inside and said, "Tu Yen, will you marry me?" Lu Nuyen looked at the ring on my hand and immediately covered her mouth and cried. She has been waiting for this day for a long time. She nodded and said, "Okay, I agree." I happily hugged her. True love can overcome all challenges, whether it be time or difficulty, but it is vulnerable to deception and betrayal. Only sincerity is the glue that connects me and Lu Nguyen forever.